Hi, everybody. We are so excited to have with us Shannon Henry, the president and founder of SASS, and Jen Thompson, the executive director of Lighthouse for Life, both incredible organizations who are doing great work here in the Midlands and beyond. So let's just get started. Shannon, can you tell us how you met Jen?
Yes, so I met Jen because a good friend and somebody who was a big advocate for SASS, we'll say, told me about an organization in the Midlands that was working to eradicate trafficking, and told me a little bit about the organization, but really told me about Jen, and that they had gotten a call from her, and this person knew how interested I was in making sure that we did our part to combat trafficking as well. So it was a perfect connection to be made. I didn't know at the time that I was going to meet one of my very best friends in life moving forward, but that's exactly what that day was. It was a day where we came together and we met, and we realized that the two organizations really blended well together. And could support each other in certain ways. And so, and then I also met, like I said, just a dear friend, which was really cool.
And can you tell us more about the work that Lighthouse for Life is doing here in the Midlands to eradicate human trafficking?
Yes. To put it simply, we just try to raise awareness about the realities of trafficking and that it actually is happening, and dispel the myths and bring factual, things to bear. And then along the way, we try to bring restoration to victims in a myriad of ways, case by case.
And Shannon, SASS mission is to eradicate assault, abuse, and trafficking against women and girls. Can you talk with us a little bit about how the work that Lighthouse for Life is doing complements the work that SASS is doing?
Absolutely. So, with what we do, whether it's through prevention education or our self-defense classes, we meet such a wide range of people. Some are coming because they've never taken a self-defense class, and that's why they're there. Others come because they want to know more about how to prevent things for their children or their families or themselves. And then a lot of people walk in as survivors of a myriad of different things, whether it is sexual assault or interpersonal violence or stalking, and of course trafficking. And so it was, one of the things that we do is we understand very clearly that in order for us to move forward and to eradicate these issues, it's not just us. It's going to take a whole community pulling together the best resources that they have to guard people, to strengthen what we already have, and then to just educate people so that they can protect themselves. And so, it was really easy to look over at Lighthouse for Life and the things that they're doing and understand that fundamentally, not only do we appreciate what they're doing and we see how it blends in with what we're doing, but we need them. We need them to exist. We need them to be doing the work that they're doing so that we can do what we're doing, and we can all be spokes in a wheel moving forward this initiative to eradicate abuse, trafficking, and violence. And so it's just a natural blend for me, and they're a major asset. I think the reason that we've seen such a spike in cases being reported as far as trafficking is concerned is absolutely because the community's pulling together, whether it's law enforcement or the AG's office or whoever. But also a big component of that, and it can't be denied, is Lighthouse for Life and the work that they're doing. And so it only amplifies all of us together, all of our strengths when we work together.
And I'll put that question to you as well, which is, how does the work of SASS help complement the work that Lighthouse for Life is doing?
Well, I could just say ditto to the answer that Shannon gave, because I do see how they definitely complement each other very well. SASS brings some things to bear that Lighthouse for Life doesn't, as the physical component of the classes. teaching the self-defense, you know, for either the hour and a half or all the way through the 20-hour class or whatever. I love the train the trainer model, and we espouse to that as well. And I love the way that SASS has like a unified voice. And again, you know, it's not a matter of who is the face saying it necessarily as the truth behind them saying it, right? So I love how they empower people and help them that it's not that they don't have a voice, but I love how they help them find their own voice and use their own story. And so I think that I love seeing trafficking added to that mission and the education piece added to that for the trainers and the awareness of being cognizant that even people that are in the class may not even know they're a victim of trafficking, but the trainers moving forward with the awareness and sensitivity that it's possible that they could give language to that for someone. And then again, like Shannon said, you just, there's no competition. You know, the only competition is when you're sparring or practicing in your class. But other than that, this is hand in hand. This is, you know, being a former PE teacher, I think that it's kind of the perfect blend, right? It's the education piece, it's the physical component, it's the cognizant component, it's the prevention side just as much as the restoration side. And I've seen the effects of it personally, and I hope that we can, you know, just pass that forward.
Thank you, Jen. And you mentioned just now that you have done our elite curriculum. And I think Shannon was your instructor. And can you tell us a little bit more about your experience in the elite class and what that has meant for you?
Yeah, so I took the elite class maybe, gosh, 3 years ago, maybe. And it's funny because the little gym that we took it in is one of our business partners there with Elite Personal Training, I think is what it's called. I should know that, right? But they're fantastic. And so they hosted the class, and what I saw it do was I saw it, again, like you say, be beyond the physical, you know, everything the same as there's books about the body keeping the score and ACEs and all those things. It just came to bear for me, you know, when you're trying to take the class and the very first thing is to yell out the word no or whatever, and I personally couldn't. It took me, I think, 4 classes before I was able to, maybe 5, I don't know, before I could stay the whole time without taking a break, mentally and emotionally, and to just have whatever it took, you know, to even speak that word while I was doing the physical activity of it. So it just, again, just brings to the surface that there's more to it than a move and a little bit of sweating, you know. It's deeper than that, and I hope people don't sell it too short by thinking that it's not, you know, it's not, it's just deeper.
And you mentioned the ways in which Lighthouse for Life educational programming has complemented SASS. Can you give me some concrete examples of that?
Yeah, definitely. So just in this last, you know, few months, really not going all the way back, you know, we have girls that we train at Epworth Children's Home here in Columbia, and we bring in Lighthouse for Life to work with those girls and help them to recognize the signs of trafficking and what that looks like, and how they can not only recognize it but understand the resources that are available to them. That's a big deal. It's one thing to point something out, but it's another thing to point it out and say, and here's how you can get help for it. So they do an incredible job with that. The other thing that we've done is had them come into the University of South Carolina, into my classes specifically, to talk about the same type of thing, but it's fascinating because our Epworth girls are you know, middle school and high school, and these are college students, and they are blown away when they hear the information that Lighthouse for Life offers them, and it never fails that 1 or 2 of them, one time even 3 in one class of 30, come up and say, thanks for giving a name to what happened to me. I didn't know that's what that was. So it's important. Some girls in those classes have even come up and said, you know, I think my roommate's being trafficked. What do I do next? So for that, we also bring them in when we're training new instructors to give them that foundation that they need to understand human trafficking, because we will see parents and we will see community members who are so concerned with trafficking. And because we have a presence across the United States, you know, it's really easy for our instructors to hear from multiple locations with questions about trafficking. And Lighthouse for Life just has that voice, that calm voice. They say it in the way that we articulate things, and that, you know, there's grace upon grace upon grace for people who have been through things, and it's limitless when it comes to our organizations. That's another way that we connect. So we always trust them to train our instructors and to talk to them so that they understand how to take that same flavor, that same vibe that we have in all of our classes, and then connect that to any conversation that they're having about trafficking. And I haven't, you know, Lighthouse for Life just is so good at doing that for us, between Lisa and Jen and then Heather. It's just really easy. One of the things that I love is we want to, from our table, not make the table smaller. We want to actually make the table bigger and bring in more chairs. And one of those chairs for us always has Lighthouse for Life in it.
Jen, I'd like to ask you the same question, just some concrete ways in which, you know, SASSGO, you've utilized SASSGO programming.
Oh man, well, it starts with me, right? Like, I'm the face of Lighthouse for Life, and I'm the primary speaker. And like I said earlier, 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 now, I can't quite remember, but taking that class that I took, you know, for 8 weeks, an hour and a half a week over in Irmo, it did something for me. And if you do something for me and who I am, then you've done something for Lighthouse for Life, period. Because everything that I do, it bleeds into my team, right? So personally, I take it from who I am and how I think and how I look at the world, and my my source of just even confidence and identity and the voice, you know, raising it up even more. And the thing that I love about it the most is that I see it apply to me the same way as I've seen it apply to our staff that have received training, as well as several survivors that SASS has provided training for, is the voice. It just gives you more volume to your own voice. And I've seen some survivors that attended events where Brett and I, for example, were both teaching that night, and it triggered the survivor. And later she came back and found me and said, okay, yeah, that was tough, but I got to take that class. And I don't want to ever have that. I'm fighting back against that. And then almost always when we're working with survivors and we're asking them to be in charge of their plan, right? You know, what services would you like? We can offer you this and this and this. No one has ever turned down, would you like self-defense classes? And SASS is who we use for that. And we also love to actually give their information away all the time as something that partners really well. You know, you talk about the resources to do things with after you've learned the information. Well, one of the things that people love to do is to put their feet to it and their actions to it. And so, again, we pass the info out all the time of, you know, you look at your self-defense, I know who you can take. And not because there's an expectation, but because I took it. And so I'm not making it up. I lived it. I saw it. I saw the before. I remember the first time I went and watched the SASS class, I got angry. Just the emotions that it brought up in me because of the need for it was so great. And yet it made me sad that there was a need for it, right? Like, why aren't men learning how to be more respectful men instead of women learning how to beat them up if they have to? Like, you know, so there's just this great need for it. So it gives voice, it gives confidence, it gives assurance, it gives all these things, it gives healing. And so, like you said, you know, the same I would say at the table, the chairs, you know, SASS is in that seat with us, and usually I like it to be the seat beside mine.
Well, and Jen, I will say, we, on multiple occasions, people have reached out to us to organize classes, and we've asked,
Good.
How did you hear about us? And they'll say, well, there was this fantastic speaker from Lighthouse for Life who came. So yes, thank you. And I would just like to add to that as well, Jen, you have been such a mentor for Shannon and I with SASSGO as a nonprofit organization and providing us with your valuable insight on a whole host of topics,
including Midlands Gives.
You can learn. Yeah, if you can learn from our experiences and save some months. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah, it's our pleasure. I mean, that's the whole point of this thing. That's the whole point of this thing, is we've each got a spot, and each one of us matter. And the day that I'm starting to worry about your spot is the day that I'm not actively filling mine. You know,
That's right.
No good.
Thank you. So today is Midlands Gives, and it's a really incredible day where the whole community can come together and support not only Lighthouse for Life and SASS Go, but I think over 400 other nonprofits that are doing work here in the Midlands. What do you want, folks who are interested in supporting Midlands Gives, tell us why their support is so critical.
We are, we're here and we're serving the Midlands with everything that we have. I promise you that you won't find two organizations that are, maybe you will, maybe there are, but I guess what I'm trying to say is we work 24/7. We don't stop. It's on our hearts 24/7. We have to actively pursue relaxing in order to stop, because what you may not see, we do see, and we're in it, and it's all around us, and it's not the kids, on the other side of the tracks. It's not the moms in that other neighborhood. It is right here. It is right now, and it is all over us. And, we try to control ourselves at dinner parties or different places to not bring the whole vibe down with everything that we know. But at this time of year, even if it's just for this day, if you'll just listen to us when we say the Midlands and the rest of the world need your help. It's bad. It's really bad. And the statistics are high. 1 in 3 of us will experience a violent relationship, and 1 in 5 of us, 1 in 6 women will experience sexual abuse or assault. And that's 1 in 5 if you're in college. So it doesn't change because you're in the Midlands. It doesn't change because you're in Wyoming. It's just, it is what it is. Those are the statistics. So on this day, it's really powerful to stop and give a nod to that for just a second, and give your money, give your time, give your talents, whatever. But today, specifically for Midlands Gives, giving your money to us means that more girls are being saved from that, and that has consequences. That means that more girls are graduating from college. That means that more people are seeing a healthier future because they've missed out on something so painful. It means that you're more confident when you load your child up on the bus, because you know that child knows how to recognize signs of trafficking and how to use their voice and advocate for themselves. It means so much that's hard to articulate in just these few minutes that we have.
Again, ditto would suffice, but again, the parallels are it's just a layer, because 90% of the people that are adults that are being trafficked were abused for the first time as children before the age of 12, and again, usually that leads to before the age of 18. And the thing is, like Shannon said, to make an impact, we need you to stay you. We need you to be that mom. We need you to be that dad, that business owner, that community member. Because again, everyone has a part to play, and we talk a lot about the domino effect and how, again, the voices multiply. And so I don't need to quit what I'm doing and come and take a job that you have in, say, the trucking industry, so that they learn about, the signs to look for in the human trafficking hotline. You are there. So you take the information and you move it forward, but we're in a spot where we can't give you that information without the support of the community. And so, we are working for non-for-profits. Some, are working without salaries. They're still doing it on a voluntary basis. And so the other thing I'd love people to understand is that the statistics that you hear, they're not numbers, not really. Those are people. They have names. That 1% is named something. That 2% is named something. And so, when you become a donor and a supporter, you're not a statistic either. You have a name, you have impact, you have purpose, you have meaning and value and input to this, and it won't go as far as it would go if you don't join it. It simply won't.
That's fact. I know today's Midlands Gives. I know that people can do anything in the world they want to with their money, but if you have ever thought, I don't want another little girl to be hurt or taken or murdered, or I don't want another little girl to be trafficked, and I don't want to see another woman who is, you know, dropping out of school because she can't finish her curriculum and wonder why she can't finish college, or I don't want to see another wife who's cold and distant from her husband, but he doesn't quite understand why, or any of those things that happen all the time. Like, please give and let us help our community with those things. That's what we're here for. That's what we're passionate about. And that's what we're going to keep doing. But like Jen said earlier, we can only go as far as you'll let us go. So join in, be you, like Jen said, be you, keep being you, but keep being you, pouring into your community through us. If we're what you want, you know, what you're looking to do in the world, please consider us.